at good speeds. Give Dad the biggest hugs ever this Father's Day with a Minky Couture blanket. Save 50% with promo code KSL50 in stores and at minkycouture.com. The best blanket ever. I'm Aubrey Withrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny and 85 today, 87 tomorrow. We're in the 90s next week. Right now it's 62 degrees downtown. Have a great movie show, Andy.
Thanks, Amanda. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour is breaking news. The University of Utah has just finalized their private equity deal with Otro Capital, essentially creating a new company from the athletic department. Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan will be the company's chairman of the board, while Matt Webb, a former vice president of corporate sponsorships for both the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, will be the company's CEO. Utah voters wondering why they haven't gotten a primary ballot may not be affiliated with a party. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Mail-in ballots were only sent to registered voters with an active party affiliation. Registered Democrats and Republicans were initially the only recipients. Republicans have a closed election, meaning you have to be a registered Republican to vote in the primary. But Democrats are open, and any voter with any party affiliation can vote. They just weren't sent a ballot in the mail. You'll have to request one from the local county clerk if you want to take part in this year's primary. Or you can vote in person on primary day, June 23rd. The last day to request a mail-in ballot for the primary election is today. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The man accused of killing Charlie Kirk is back in a Utah County courtroom this morning. The judge is going to be looking at two different issues in the case against Tyler Robinson. One is whether police officers should be allowed to testify about things they heard from other people while investigating Kirk's murder. The other is whether prosecutors violated a court order by talking to the media about the bullet believed to have killed Kirk. National stories we're following. U.S. forces in the Middle East shot down 2 Iranian attack drones over the Strait of Hormuz overnight. That is just hours after President Trump said the war with Iran is over. ABC News contributor and former Deputy Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy, explains what he expects to see in the peace deal.
We'd have to see things like activities to open the strait start happening. Then I imagine there'll be a blockade reduction on the U.S. side so that you gain essentially trust in either side as they move forward through the agreed upon terms.
The president has not presented terms of the alleged agreement. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 521. That's 1 full percent. We're at 51,369. No movement on the SpaceX stock yet. Coming up, it's going to be a hot one today. Lots of sunshine. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This is Colin Keary from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Bad driving habits are hard to break, but good driving habits are easy to form, especially when they can lead to a discount on your auto insurance. With Farm Bureau Financial Services, the safer you drive, the more you save. Drivers like you are saving an average of $351 per vehicle. So buckle up, learn more, and find an agent at fbfs.com/save. Individual savings results may vary. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. Dee and I had the chance at Hale Center Theater to see the opening night of not only My Fair Lady, but Harmony. Two great presentations right now on two amazing stages. I want to talk about My Fair Lady first. I've had the chance to enjoy My Fair Lady, the West End in London and New York on Broadway, and of course the iconic movie. But I have to tell you, I don't think I have ever enjoyed My Fair Lady more than watching it on the stage at Hale Center Theater. Spectacular staging, gifted performances, great music, the voices, incredible, and the costuming. You're going to love My Fair Lady. It's on now at Hale Center Theater. Then there's Harmony, the story of a 6-man German choral comedy group who gained great fame in the late 20s and early 30s, only to be undone by the Nazis. This is a powerful performance. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now. Harmony and My Fair Lady at Hale Center Theater, hct.org for your tickets.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. And here's Cormac Bone.
Northbound I-15, still pretty heavy from 4500 south, now reaching up to 13th south. And the crash that we had just before the I-80-201 interchange has completely cleared off the road now, so hopefully those delays start to work their way out. We do also still have this crash eastbound on the 201 freeway. They're out of traffic and in the right shoulder just before you get to I-215's west belt. But delays there have completely cleared out, so just be careful as you get around them. Give them the space so they can work on that crash safely. Eastbound on I-80, that right lane filling up between Kimball Junction and the US 40 turnoff. This summer, Jordan Valley Water asks you to water twice a week or less. It helps our community go into next year in a stronger position. Life is better with water. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with the highs in the mid-80s. We'll get up to the 90s next week. Right now it's 66 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday edition of Inside Sources. Before we start, there are two court cases this morning that we are watching closely. We don't intend to break away to either of them, but we've talked about them during the week. We thought we'd just give you an update that Jimmy Haas, the Taylorsville police officer who's accused of manslaughter for a shooting that occurred while in connection with his duties as a police officer, has court this morning at 8:30. That should be pretty pro forma. Not much should happen, but if it does, we'll break away. And then Tyler Robinson, the man accused of shooting Charlie Kirk in Utah County last September, I think, has a court hearing this morning. I know he has a court hearing this morning, but I don't expect much to happen at that one either, Holly. The judge is going to consider whether and to what extent hearsay can be admitted at the preliminary hearing, and whether the Utah County Attorney's Office should be sanctioned. If something interesting happens on either of those, we may break away, but I don't anticipate that will occur. I do want to talk about something that is interesting to me.
That's so interesting.
And that's what's happening in San Juan County. The San Juan County tax assessor is being recommended for removal from office by the Utah State Tax Commission because they deem him unfit for his job.
That is so interesting to me. Like, this has never happened before. So we're going to hear a little more from KSL TV's Daniel Woodruff, and then we're going to talk about it.
This recommendation is a first for the Utah State Tax Commission under a new law that gives the commission more power to police county assessors who play a big role in the property tax process.
San Juan County Assessor Rick Meyer was first elected in 2020, but the Utah State Tax Commission says he hasn't followed the law in doing his job. In a letter obtained by KSL through a public records request, the commission says Meyer didn't tax certain buildings, misclassified property, and gave certain tax exemptions when he shouldn't have. The commission also alleges Meyer's office was often closed and that he's been unwilling to attend trainings or improve. In their letter, the Tax Commission told San Juan County commissioners that Meyer is unfit to perform his duties and recommends the immediate removal of the San Juan County assessor from office to protect the public interest and restore the integrity of the property tax system in San Juan County. This all comes after a new state law passed last year giving the Utah State Tax Commission power to take corrective action against county assessors who aren't doing their jobs properly. A commission spokesman confirmed to KSL this is the first time that's happened under the new law. But as to whether the San Juan County Commission can actually remove Meyer from office, the spokesman couldn't say. The chair of the San Juan County Commission declined to comment on any next steps.
And we do have a copy of that letter to the San Juan County Commissioners from the Tax Division and a copy of the new law. It was a 2025 law that allows for this particular procedure to occur, which would allow the Tax Commission to seek the removal of a tax assessor, an elected official. It seems
for not doing their
job. And they've done quite a thorough investigation, including this, and there are a number of errors that they cite that this assessor has committed, and if I were to read between the lines, it seems that he doesn't like property taxes, so he's reluctant to collect them, even though that's his elected job. But they did a field audit of over 70 properties just to see what's going on. 100% error rate. Every one of them had an error.
That seems wild to me.
That's almost impossible to do. And so some of the things that he did that were really problematic, he doesn't like agricultural property being taxed, so he doesn't tax it.
Right.
He says, it should be exempt, so I'm not going to tax it.
So he is violating state law because he feels like he knows better. That's what I'm reading. And he admitted to it. He said, I don't think they should be taxed.
I mean, he must be costing the county tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, that's his job.
This has been a multi-year process for the tax commission. It sounds like, in fact, their letter says multi-year history of non-compliance, multiple formal corrective action orders, and documented failure to comply with Utah tax statutes. So this is, now they had some teeth after the 2025 law passed, and they're trying to make it stick.
I wonder, Holly, if it's a coincidence that 2025 law
I'm guessing it's
was
not
enacted, or if somebody could read between the lines and say, hey, we've got a rogue, allegedly, county assessor, and maybe we should have some teeth in the law that allows for his or her removal if there's something going on. But, he also doesn't tax certain land. He classifies real estate as personal property, like a car, which you don't get taxed on your tax assessments.
Right.
So then people aren't getting taxed. He's just avoiding taxes on so many properties in so many ways that they're asking the county commission to remove him. Now, the tax commission can't remove him, but they can petition for his removal with the legislative body that has the authority to do that, which in this case would be the San Juan County Commissioners.
They also, so there's several things. They have multiple categories. So statutory noncompliance, unauthorized exemptions, operational and data integrity failures, denial of taxpayer fairness, equity, and transparency, and professional misconduct and obstruction. So it is unclear what next steps are to me, but there has to be some kind of a process. So certainly removal from office can be done for cause. I don't know if it's the commissioners that would impeach, if it would be impeachment proceedings, if that's what they would be called. But it's interesting. My
guess is, just looking at the law and looking at the conduct, that the commissioners can just have a vote with it among themselves and say you're removed from office. Now, he may have some ability to appeal that, but it looks like the county commissioner probably has the authority to do that under this law, and the tax commission has the authority to request that under this law. So
I wonder what happens if they say, no, we like the job he does. We like the taxes we don't have to pay. I don't know.
Ultimately, I think they are the body that makes that decision, and the tax commission may go over their head and say, we're going to ask the governor's office or the lieutenant governor or perhaps the attorney general to take action. But you can't just avoid collecting taxes if you are the tax assessor for a county because you're going to bankrupt your county at some point.
I think that's just a really interesting juxtaposition, right? Because it seems like he's applying tax breaks where they shouldn't belong. And maybe some people think that's really a great idea. And at the same time, if you're trying to run the county, that's how you run the county.
Yeah,
that's
how do you pay
your
for your
funded.
services, your police, fire, all those other things? The county needs the money, and that's what the assessor is about.
Yeah.
Make sure that the county, that the taxes are collected, make sure that people are paying what they're fairly supposed to pay, make sure the county gets its resources to do what counties do.
Yeah, good job, KSL TV.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so here's a really interesting political story as well. So there has been a concerted effort by the Nixon Foundation to remake his image. And you know what? It's working. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
Hey, I have to give a shout out to Soda Diet Nutrition. It's a group that I hooked up with about 2 months ago because I felt like I needed to lose some weight. And I felt like I needed to lose just under 30 pounds. I gained that weight since I turned 60, and it was just something I wasn't able to do on my own. I didn't also want to take pills or injections. I wanted to do it based on diet alone. They hooked me up with a diet, and it's something you just go to the grocery store and buy. You don't have to buy your food through them. They line out a program that hooked me up with a nutritionist and said, here's what you can do. And if you follow this plan, we think you can lose weight. They said you could lose 3 to 5 pounds a week. I lost over 4 pounds a week. Seriously, over 4 pounds a week for 7 weeks. That's a lot of weight. Got down to the weight I wanted to be at, and now I'm in a maintenance mode, and I'm staying at that weight. In fact, I've actually lost another couple pounds just while I've been in maintenance, which was a surprisingly good piece of news. Anyway, Soda Diet Nutrition has worked for me. It'll work for you. Say it with us. Soda, state of the art.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Doug Wright, and I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized Connecticut independent dealer. Now, Monty, don't all of the other water softeners require us to basically trust our home's water to electronics? If a power surge happens, a fried circuit board, or the power just goes out suddenly, aren't you back to scrubbing hard water scale and dry skin?
Yes, we believe the best technology is simple. That's why Connecticut's premium systems are non-electric. While other softeners rely on finicky computers and electronics, Connecticut runs on the kinetic energy of moving water. Nothing to plug in, no buttons to push, and zero electricity.
I've had a Connecticut soft water system in my home for many years, and I've never had to do anything to it except occasionally add a little salt. And I love that it never requires me to set or program anything. Dee loves that she always has the soft water. So do what I did and go to softwaterutah.com to learn how your family can enjoy the benefits of soft water without the hassles of traditional water softeners. That's softwaterutah.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
Got an old car? Donate it at carsforkids.org. It's easy, and they'll pick it up as soon as tomorrow. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS today. That's cars with a K.
Everything to my back.
is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival,
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion, and that of the sheriff, is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
The new Inside Sources.
I can't say I'm surprised to see this story, and it's actually in Vanity Fair, Greg, but it's about the Nixon Foundation's work to remake the president's image to one that was much more positive.
Well, it's been a long time since his image was tarnished, and maybe it is time to revisit it at least and see if there's something that can be done so that
you are such a lawyer.
people can look at that and say, hey, wait a minute.
So, look, it's super interesting, and I think there is a conversation to be had. Were the standards totally different back then than they are today? I think there's probably an argument to be made that there are. But you know, they're going to a generation of kids that are social media driven, weren't alive when Nixon was president or any of the scandal or anything like that, right? So what they've done is they have gone viral on Instagram. They've used rapper lyrics, and they're putting it together with images of the late president and trying to really promote him as, you know, they even said Nixon maxing, right? So they're just trying to make him, in fact, one edit says, Nixon, now more than ever. But here's just a sample of one of their posts that they used in the article by Vanity Fair.
Welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got. Yo, hey.
You see, I'm not a crook. I mean, they're just doing it.
I don't know if that's going to help.
Well, they haven't referenced Watergate yet specifically in more than 100 posts. But I think it's an interesting conversation to talk about changing history, right? And that's the concern, is people are saying, look, you're just trying to erase history and pretend it didn't happen. Well, maybe they don't care.
You know, I'm going to say something that will surprise you. But
Okay.
I think that Richard Nixon, with the assistance of Henry Kissinger, who was his Secretary of State, had a very good record of foreign policy. I think that Nixon understood foreign policy as well as most any other president, and he did a remarkable job. Now, he was a crook. Let's face it.
But here's the thing. Yeah, he did do. In fact, he was the one that did the first visit to China, I think. For our younger listeners, the issue with Watergate and the way I remember it, in fact, I've listened to some of the books about it since then, is that it was not the Watergate break-in, it was the cover-up.
Oh,
right?
yes, of course.
That really did him in. That he just was like, no, I don't know anything about this. It's kind of like Bill Clinton when Bill Clinton said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Richard Nixon said, I'm not a crook, right? I mean, they were trying to cover up a break-in. It had to do with campaigns. Watergate held, if I remember correctly, if it was not the DNC headquarters, it had to do with the Democratic Party campaign stuff, and there were people who were breaking in trying to get confidential information. Well, we do that, and not me. Some people do that today, but they do it electronically, right? They're hacking into their opponents. They're trying to do, they send a plant in who has a recording device. There are still shenanigans that go on. But he ended up so under the gun, I guess, is that he finally resigned because he didn't have the votes to prevent him from being impeached and removed from office.
And he almost certainly would have been.
Oh, he would.
At that time,
It was, as I understand it, he had people that were his allies that went to him and said, there are no votes. You don't have the votes to avoid this.
So he resigned in disgrace. He left the office in disgrace. And but again, and that's his legacy. Let's face it, because like in my business as a criminal defense lawyer, I can tell people this: the cover-up is sometimes worse than the crime.
Yeah.
Own it. I'm sorry. Boy, did we mess up.
Yeah.
Move on. That was a terrible thing we did. Mea culpa. Clinton, Nixon, you guys, what are we doing?
Right.
You know, with repentance comes forgiveness. I tell people that all the time, and I truly believe that. You know who, speaking of foreign policy with Nixon, you know who our best friend in the Middle East was during the Nixon administration?
I'm going to say Iran, since you said it that way.
Iran.
Yeah, I didn't
Seriously,
know that.
we had a great relationship with Iran.
Wow.
Of course, they had the Shah in power at the time, who was their presumptive king. We had a good relationship with them. We were selling them arms in exchange for oil. They were our watchdog in the Middle East. Of course, we had a good relationship with Israel at the time too. But Iran, we had a great relationship with them, and then things went south there, obviously, as well. Now we're literally mortal enemies. But they were our biggest ally in the Middle East.
That's so interesting. Look, there are people who, from the get-go were like, we need to protect his image. So Tim Naftali was the first federal director of the Richard Nixon Presidential Library, and he said that he was the Nixon Library director when the Nixon Foundation was making the same arguments back then, that it was all a conspiracy to make him look bad, right? So Naftali actually oversaw the release of 1.3 million pages of documents and 700 hours of Nixon tapes and the creation of the Watergate Gallery. So he's been pretty vocal about the pushback he's had when he was trying to put that exhibit up. The foundation has refuted his claims. His foundation has Nixon's daughters on it, but what's super interesting is when he first tried to open that exhibit that had all of these documents, the Nixon supporters filed a 132-page letter of objection, right? Yeah. So anyway, he says that maybe young people, especially young white men, might relate to Nixon because they see themselves as victims. In fact, one of the comments on some of these posts, one comment says, "Every disgruntled yet ambitious neurodivergent American man has a bit of Nixon in him."
You know what was incredibly ironic about those tapes, the Nixon tapes, is that he was creating this legacy. He was taping everything, meetings, and a lot of people didn't even know they were being taped. But he was going to create this great library of tapes and maybe a book or something like that. And they ended up being used against him. He said things and made comments,
minutes.
and then there's like big gaps of tapes that are missing. I mean,
I know.
At some point, again, the cover-up was worse than the crime, but just the tapes themselves were used against him in large part. And so he does them for one thing, and they're used for the complete opposite. That they made him look bad. I mean, I always tell people, you be careful what you tape record, or be careful what you say, because it'll be used against you someday too.
Right. So look, it's just interesting to me. I would say I'm not that surprised that there's an effort to remake the Nixon image. I think there's another comment on one of the posts made on Instagram, and it said, "These edits are extremely necessary in turning back the tide of lies, and I'm not exaggerating in the slightest." And then the Nixon Foundation posted the emoji of a salute, right? And I was like, okay, so the further you get away from things, the harder it is to have that accurately portrayed, right? We already see history being remade with the story about what happened on January 6th, and we were all alive then.
Right. Here's an interesting quote. Until Trump, Nixon was the standard of unacceptable behavior by a president.
I know.
So maybe the timing is not just coincidental there either.
Probably not. And look, they used to be able to say, that's Watergate type behavior. That was a slam, man.
Right.
And they're trying to change that.
And that whole Watergate, you can have something gate. There's always something gate.
Oh yeah.
Because now that's become a name for
that's right.
for controversy and
that's right.
and turmoil and corruption. Is you put a gate at the end of it, and that sort of defines it that way.
Oh yeah. Do you remember there was even Pizzagate? because that was something had to do a conspiracy with a pizza shop. Right. And so they called it Pizzagate because they were trafficking kids. That was not true. It was a conspiracy. It was false.
There you
but
go.
They called it Pizzagate, to your point.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to that. We'll see how Nixon ends up looking in the next several years. But it's maybe time will heal and people can look back on him and say, well, he wasn't as bad as we all thought.
Compared to 2026,
or,
he wasn't that bad.
Maybe things weren't so bad. Well, when we come back, over $100,000 has been put forward toward making sure Utah Senate President Stuart Adams isn't reelected. Who's behind that? We're going to talk to a political strategist, Taylor Morgan, our friend, when we come back. Stay with us.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Senate President Stuart Adams has found himself the target of an aggressive campaign against him from an out-of-state political action group. The conservative group says they believe he benefits personally from his position and has spent $100,000 to send out texts, mailers, and make phone calls against him. A North Carolina man is pleading no contest to 2 counts of forging signatures. It happened during the failed petition to repeal Utah's anti-gerrymandering law. As part of the deal, prosecutors are dropping 20 other charges against Chadwick Klutz. If he follows court conditions for at least a year, all charges will be dismissed. Our top national story from ABC News. An ABC investigation reveals the vast majority of immigrants detained by ICE are not violent criminals, with many being deported despite having citizen spouses.
It's been more than 3 months since Maria, a U.S. citizen and mother of 3 in Tennessee, has seen her husband, Orlin Carrasco. Carrasco, who entered the U.S. as a 17-year-old unaccompanied minor in 2013, was detained by immigration authorities at a courthouse in Tennessee.
The ICE agents were already waiting for them to arrest them.
After paying fees related to a traffic ticket he received, according to his attorney. New government data analyzed by ABC News shows that the vast majority of migrants detained are not violent offenders.
ABC's Matt Rivers reporting. Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 505 points. We're at 51,359. No movement on the SpaceX stock yet, by the way. Today will be sunny and hot, and it'll be that way this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:31. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Does your denture look like a denture? Generic teeth, an unnatural smile, dentures that move when you eat, speak, or laugh? At Grandpa's Dental, we believe your smile should look like you, not a denture. That's why every smile is designed by our experienced doctors and handcrafted in our in-house laboratory. With 47 years of experience, we create smiles that fit your face, your personality, and your natural appearance. And if you're tired of those loose dentures and messy adhesives, today's fixed implant supported smiles provide a secure, beautiful solution that looks, feels, and functions like natural teeth. Ask about our smile upgrade opportunity. Full arch fixed implant smiles start at just $11,999 with some of the most affordable implant pricing in Utah. Your smile should be remembered, not your denture. Grandpa's Family Dental. Our business is dentistry. Our legacy is you. Call 801-449-0930 or visit grandpasdental.com.
Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts,
ball games,
and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
But it also means lots of heavy food, sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or two. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
You're the backyard big shot, the patio perfectionist, the envy of barbecue hosts all over the neighborhood. When it comes to your lawn, power moves are the only moves you make. That's why you just applied IFA Spring and Summer Lawn Food for healthy turf that stays green all summer. IFA Spring and Summer Lawn Food. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move.
One of my friends hired CertaPro painters, and she raves about their work. Her house looks great, and she loves how they made the entire process worry-free at the right price. And right now, celebrate America's 250th anniversary with CertaPro painters and get $250 off projects of $2,500 or more. Schedule by July 10th and let freedom and fresh paint ring. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Receive 4% cash back on cruises at UCCU.com. And here's Cormac Bone.
If you're running into some heavy delays on southbound I-15 just before 4500 south in Murray, that's because UDOT did a controlled slowdown. There was some bridge maintenance. They've opened up the lanes, so hopefully those delays die out quick. But if you're slow there right now, that's why. Otherwise, I-15 looking really good between Ogden and Provo. Eastbound I-80, though, a little slow near Mountain Dale Reservoir. And, of course, that right lane still pretty full between Kimball Junction and the US 40 turnoff. Join the Greenhouse Show June 20th at Super Trees in Riverton. Utah's best trees, plants, and gifts for summer and Father's Day. New truckloads arrive weekly. Receive 10% off June 20th. Visit supertrees.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with the highs in the mid-80s. We'll stay there through the weekend. We're in the 90s next week. Right now it's 66 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So we had our one-year anniversary this week. So are we still the all-new Inside Sources?
I think that's above my pay grade.
Yeah, okay. Well, I like the intro anyway. Anyway, let's talk about Stuart Adams, Utah State Senate President. Over $100,000 has been spent on an effort to campaign against him, who he's running right now for re-election.
Yeah, and what's interesting is you have that $100,000 coming from a conservative PAC who, basically libertarian PAC, who says he's not conservative enough. And then you also have attacks coming from more liberal groups. Well, it's part, I think, of an overall... I guess this is the primary surprise. So instead of an October surprise, this is the right before you get to the end. But I think he's particularly vulnerable this year, and I think the data center is one reason he is vulnerable.
You know, and my commute every day goes up and down I-89 through Davis and Weber County, and he's got billboards all over that are touting his accomplishments, including opening Highway 89, including other things that he's claimed to have done while he's in office. And so he's taking it pretty seriously, too.
Yeah, and I think he needs to. So it's we do have with us, I'm hoping, Taylor Morgan on the line. And Taylor's a political strategist who is with, I think it's Morgan and May Public Affairs. Thanks for joining us, Taylor.
Yeah, happy to be here, Greg. Holly.
Oh, look, we can see you on camera. That's so fun.
Oh, wonderful. I should have shaved.
Okay, look, so I wanted to talk a little bit about President Adams and that campaign, but I also wanted to talk more broadly about negative campaigns. So what are you seeing in the Adams race?
Yeah, this race is so interesting because we have a very highly regarded, effective, very popular Senate president incumbent who is, as you said, Holly, vulnerable, really for the first time ever. Mm-hmm. And so it's really interesting. And the way I see the landscape is there is a lot of voter frustration out there in general about some of the moves by Republican legislative leaders over the last 2 years. Prop 4 litigation, the Amendment D rollout, and then, of course, most recently, the data center. Now, I believe all of this kind of voter frustration is being focused on this one race as a proxy, right, for voters to kind of take out their frustration against incumbent legislators. I don't think that really reflects President Adams's record Since becoming Senate president, he's presided over 6 straight years of income tax cuts. He's passed historic legislation. Some of the things that you'll see on those billboards driving through Davis County, right, Greg? He has been a really effective conservative Senate president, yet he is seeing all of the focus, the harnessing of this voter frustration is really being focused on his race.
He did have some involvement, Taylor, though, with the data center. I'm talking about what happened in Box Elder County. And he has, I guess, pushed back a little bit. Now he's written a letter to the gentleman that's trying to, put the
Kevin
thing
O'Leary.
together, O'Leary, and saying, hey, you need to dial it back from 40,000 to 10,000 acres. O'Leary saying, okay, I'll cut it in half to 20,000. But is the data center something that is positive or negative for Stuart Adams?
Well, I don't think anyone will argue, Greg, that the rollout of the data center was done well. Even a lot of legislators had no idea that the data center was coming until after the session in April. So the rollout was a huge miss by MIDA and by Republican legislative leadership. And I do believe that he's suffering the consequence of that in a way, even though he's not directly responsible. He is on MIDA, correct, given his role as Senate president. But again, Republican legislative leaders needed to do outreach, education, and PR on a lot of things, even Prop 4, Amendment D, and of course, most recently, the data center. So the rollout was a mess. He should get some credit for being responsive to his constituents. But nevertheless, his race is becoming the proxy for the voter frustration.
So you advise people when they're running for political office. You get involved in these decisions, Taylor. So let's talk about the question of when and how negative ads do work, because some people say they don't work, but I think that they actually do get to some of the voters.
Well, Greg, some negative or critical ads can work, but the kind of out-of-state Washington, D.C. style attack ads that are coming into the Stuart Adams race using these wild AI-generated images to portray Stuart Adams just doing wild things, that will backfire. That kind of overly negative personal attack style ads, that always backfires here in Utah. Utah voters do not respond well to that. They're certainly not going to allow an out-of-state, libertarian group shape their perception of Adams.
So I'm going to push back on that a little bit and say I disagree. I mean, I sometimes hear that people say we don't want these out-of-state people doing this. And then if they were to win, then they use those out-of-state people the next time they run because they want to run a negative campaign. I mean, let's be honest. So I think also you have when you have PACs, right, they're actually not in coordination with the campaigns. And I think that's what you see up there as well. But I think one of the reasons you're seeing this push is because he is vulnerable. So he's not just a member of MIDA, he's the chair of the MIDA board, right? And I think that data center is so wildly unpopular. And then there was some consternation, I think, about the bill that benefited a family member of his that was eventually convicted of sexual relations with a minor, quite a young child, actually. And so there's that, and that makes him vulnerable. And then that's when people are going to attack, right? If you're not vulnerable, why are you going to dump $100,000 in? You're not. And so they see an opening here. I think one of the things too, Taylor, is that there's a 3-way race. And so that is probably going to benefit President Adams because the other two will probably split the vote.
Yeah. Well, and Holly, your point is exactly correct. On the record, the executive director of this out-of-state PAC said they only became interested in this race when they saw President Adams win 55% at the Republican convention. Yeah. Well, what that out-of-state group doesn't know is that primary elections aren't always reflective of what happens at convention, right? And like you said, we have Braden Hess and we have Stephanie Hullist, who are both running to the right of Adams. They will split that vote. I believe President Adams will win this election in the high single digits. Again, he's vulnerable like never before. He's in the race of his life, but I do believe he will win because his voters know his record.
Can we talk just really briefly? We only have about a minute left, but what are some of the other races where you see negative campaigning? Because I see it in my area, just not to this level.
Well, if you live in Davis County, you have a mailbox full of negative mailers. In fact, a consultant friend who lives there sent me a photo of all the mailers he received in 1 week spread out over his kitchen floor, and it covered the entire room.
Wow.
I think we've seen a lot of attacks coming from the Carrie Ann Lisenby campaign, attacking Blake Moore around redistricting.
Oh, wow.
That is one other campaign where we're seeing a lot of out-of-state money focused on a negative campaign.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Hey, Taylor, thanks for joining us this morning. You look well. It's nice to see you. This new gig we've got here where we got to simulcast is kind of fun.
Yeah, right. I know. I would have maybe put on a collared shirt, Greg.
No. No, you're good. Thanks, Taylor. Taylor Morgan with Morgan and May. Look, when we come back, it's not sci-fi. This is another concern about AI. A man in Florida was arrested after he was falsely identified as a suspect by AI facial recognition. We're going to talk about his lawsuit when we come back.
You know, I never thought it was possible, but I lost almost 30 pounds in 7 weeks. I couldn't do it myself. I tried everything. In fact, I tried for years to lose weight and couldn't lose weight. Not only could I not lose weight, but I was actually gaining weight. And I got to a weight where I thought, I'm uncomfortable with this. I have to try something else. So I contacted SOTA Diet Nutrition, SOTA, because I didn't want to take any pills or injections. I don't know why. I just didn't want to. I wanted to do something based on diet and health and fitness. And I got a nutritionist, I got a coach, I got SOTA Diet Nutrition on board, and they told me, here's a food program to follow, and you could buy all the food at the grocery store. You don't have to buy it through them. And I did follow that, and I went and I lost almost 30 pounds in 7 weeks, and now I'm maintaining the weight. In fact, I've lost 2 more pounds since I started the maintenance program, which is actually less than where I expected I'd be, but I'm happy with it. I'm very happy to be wearing slacks that I couldn't wear years ago, button-up shirts that I haven't been able to wear for a couple years. It's all worked out really well for me. SOTA Diet Nutrition, SOTA. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
There's no doubt about it. It's always a great time to shop at NPS, which truly is a nice place to save with their 4 locations, 1 in Orem, we've got 1 in Layton, and 2 in Salt Lake. Anytime you'll save 20 to 70% at NPS. But right now, it's time to get into NPS because Father's Day is just around the corner. The summer months are here. It's time to get those power tools, buy a fire pit, great men's clothing. How about some golf clubs and other sports equipment, things that are fun for the summertime for the kids, even things for your lawn and garden. And then, of course, groceries, great prices, and that's very important right now. Terrific prices on groceries. And then when you're shopping the store, above and beyond the 20 to 70% off, you'll find additional savings. It's time for you to go in and shop for dear old dad at NPS.
Murphy's Law says that if your air conditioner is going to break down this summer, it's going to be when you least expect it and at the worst possible time. And for a lot of homeowners, the fear isn't just the breakdown. It's worrying about what happens next. Is this going to cost a fortune? Am I going to be pressured into replacing it? Can somebody just help me figure out what's wrong? At Any Hour Services, that's exactly what we're here for. Maybe your system just needs maintenance to help prevent breakdowns before they happen. Maybe a part failed, and a simple repair gets you back up and running quickly. Or maybe your system's getting older, repairs are adding up, and you think replacing it makes more sense. Whatever the situation, we'll walk you through your options, answer your questions, and make sure you have the information you need to make the decision that's right for your home and your budget. Maintenance, repair, or replacement, you choose what's right for you. That's how Any Hour Services works. Options, not pressure. Call Any Hour Services next time you need help with your air conditioner. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Right here in your community, Cyprus Credit Union helps you prepare for whatever the future holds. Learn more at cypruscu.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
When police arrested Richard Dillon in 2023 for allegedly trying to lure a child away from a McDonald's in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, he told them he was more than 300 miles away at the time of the crime. The key evidence? Facial recognition software that identified him.
From artificial intelligence, he was arrested at his home in Lee County, Florida. ABC's Andrea Fujii has the full story.
Dillon was accused of trying to lure a young child at a restaurant in Jacksonville Beach, 300 miles away. An investigator there submitted surveillance photos of the suspect to an AI facial recognition program, which found a 93% match to Dillon. The only other evidence? A witness who picked Dillon's photo out of a lineup.
So you have to look at the big picture of this, because the reason we're talking about this is because he's now suing law enforcement for a wrongful arrest. He was taken into custody. He went to jail. That would certainly cause you some stress, some emotional stress, and it may be something that you are entitled to some compensation for. On the other hand, what information did the police have at the time they made the arrest, and was it reasonable? Did they act reasonably? Artificial intelligence, facial recognition is a new form of probable cause that we haven't used before, and we're testing it. And just like we did 40 years ago.
Mistakes were made.
Absolutely, no question. But I think about what we were talking about when I was at the DA's office. We had this thing we called DNA, and everyone was like, what is that? And is it reliable? Can you really arrest somebody based on DNA? That seems absurd. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it proved to be accurate. It proved to be state of the art. I mean, it's what we're using right now. And prior to that, we had fingerprints. People are like, what's up with that? I mean, that was a long time ago. But we have these various levels of technology that law enforcement uses, and facial recognition probably hasn't reached that level of certainty. We don't use lie detector tests either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are certain things that we don't allow law enforcement to use as a basis of probable cause. I do think facial recognition has some value, but in this case, maybe they should have taken one or two more steps. You know what I mean? Besides just arresting based on that. But they did say, Fujii, the reporter just said he was also picked out of a lineup or something like that.
So, and I wonder if it has to do with his race. So, look, he got a call that accused him. So this is his story. They've dropped all charges, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
So
he's not the guy.
He's not the guy. So a month after the incident happened, he got a call from Jacksonville Beach Police, and he said during the call, the police officer accused him over and over of a crime I knew I didn't commit. And then he said that Dillon denied involvement. He told police he has distinctive scars because of skin cancer surgery. And he said he has seen the photos of the actual suspect, and he said, I don't even look anything alike this guy, right? So he contacted his local police department because he thought it was a scam, right? We talk about all these scam things and be careful. Somebody's telling you you've got a ticket and you've got a warrant. He thought it was a scam. The local police told him they thought it was a hoax and that the call that he received was against protocol. But 8 months later,
Yeah.
he was arrested.
He gets arrested and taken into custody. So, I mean, the lawsuit's filed now. Law enforcement's going to have to explain why they did that, what information they had, and they're going to have to explain the big picture. Did they also have information from him or from others that, in fact, he wasn't the person? Because I've seen situations a little bit similar to this where a person has especially people from south of the border who have similar names,
right?
And not a lot of distinctive features that
distinguish
one from another. So they get arrested simply because their name happens to be a name and it happens with everybody else too.
Right.
But it just seems more that happens to immigrants than locals. It's a little bit of a problem, and so. And I've even had situations where a person has been arrested twice, for the same thing. Like, hey, wait a minute. Every time I get stopped by a police officer, there's the same guy that's got my same name that's got a warrant for him.
Yeah. So I will just say my husband, his name is Greg Richardson, and I can't remember why we were pulled over one time. No big deal, actually. But the police officer took a really long time to come back. And then he said, it's a good thing you're not really overweight because there's a warrant out for Greg Richardson, but he weighs like twice what you do. So
yeah. Oh, no. And what does law enforcement do?
Yeah.
You have a suspect. What if it's Ted Bundy? You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're like, well,
I've got to legally change my name.
I don't think it's you. But, I mean, if they had stopped Ted Bundy, we weren't 100% sure, and they let him go.
Right.
I mean, you have a problem with that. So law enforcement's in a pickle, too, because they've got information that this man is, it was trying to pick up a child at
right. It's
at
terrible
McDonald's.
at McDonald's. And so it was a month before he got the first phone call. It was 8 months before he was arrested. It was multiple months after that before they dropped the charges. But look, part of the complaint in this lawsuit alleges that the Jacksonville Beach Police, when you're talking about the lineup, they didn't present any photographs to the victim. They used the photo lineup identification from an employee at the McDonald's who wasn't an eyewitness to the interaction.
Yeah, how does that
So how does that work? Yeah. So it's, to me, when you just see, okay, I totally get what you're saying about, is this new technology, mistakes are going to be made, but how does he recover from this, right? He's still dealing with the aftermath.
Sure, and I would never want to be arrested, it's a horrible thing. I go visit jails and I hate it.
Right.
But and I know I'm walking out at the end of the day.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to go spend a night there. That would be a terrible thing, and it affects people for a long time. I've heard people say, you don't ever want to go to jail.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be comfortable. But anyway, and facial recognition seems, I don't know, it seems a little bit, don't we all have a doppelganger? Don't we all have somebody that you see, boy, that looks exactly like my friend so-and-so. And you're like, in fact, I thought it was him. You know what I mean? And so a facial recognition technology might very well make the same mistake that we do when we see someone.
So there, I think I saw in one of the news stories that I looked at, 117 million faces in a national database, and probably more all the time, I would guess. There are multiple people. He's not the only person. There are multiple people who have been falsely arrested because they were arrested because they were falsely identified because of AI. Again, I think, what is your perspective then from the legal remedies potentially available? Because I understand what they're arguing, the ACLU, but you're saying this could be new technology. How do you put like some guardrails on?
Well, so you have to look at the good faith of the police officers. They had a program that said there's a 93% chance that this is the guy. It seems to me that that's probable cause. You know what I mean? It's enough to at least make the stop, at least take him into custody, maybe do a little more research before you book him into jail. But that seems to be pretty compelling. And I think officers can make mistakes. They can serve warrants inappropriately, and they're not always responsible for every time they make a mistake. I'm not saying that what happened here was good. What happened here was horrible. Going to jail is horrible, especially going to jail for something you didn't do. It doesn't get much worse than that.
Right.
But if you're suing the police officers, you have to show that they acted in bad faith. And if they acted reasonably, he's not going to have a lawsuit against them, notwithstanding that he was damaged, notwithstanding that he was hurt, notwithstanding that he was the wrong person. You still have to say
he was arrested in front of his wife and kids.
I know. No, it doesn't get much worse. It doesn't get much worse. His damages are great.
Yeah.
But there's a hurdle you have to get to before you get to damages, and that's fault. And if you say, what was the fault of the police officer? It's not we arrested the wrong guy, but we arrested the wrong guy because we didn't do our homework. That's fault.
Interesting.
Otherwise, you just ignore that. So, I mean, I'm not trying to side with the police officers.
No, I'm just asking you how you think it's going to play out.
I just think that there's a good faith exception to these rules when you're suing police officers that allows them a little bit of a leeway. And government employees, they have to do their job.
Do you think this is something where they might agree to settle, or do you think the police department is going to push forward and say, look, we did our best?
I think this
just
case,
your opinion.
If I was advising the police department, I'd write him a check. You know what I mean? I'm not sure it would be a 7 or 8 figure check, but I think he's entitled to something for
with
what
an apology.
He went through. Yeah, and an apology, and maybe clean up the database a little bit.
And make sure that his mugshot isn't still online.
Right,
please.
and do something so that he doesn't get hooked up again, because that's when somebody's really going to get a lawsuit.
Yeah.
If he gets arrested again, by somebody. I don't know. It's a hard thing. I think AI.
Darn that AI
can be helpful. And I think it's going to be a valuable tool for law enforcement in the future.
Yeah.
Facial recognition spooks me a little bit, but hey, there are other things
that
scared us years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, when we come back, reading and math scores for kids are on an upward trend. That's great news, but the nation still has some work to do. We're going to talk with Jason Swenson from the Deseret News about that when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk is back in court in Utah County this morning.
Tyler Robinson's attorneys argue prosecutors violated a court order by talking to the media about the bullet believed to have killed Charlie Kirk. That's why they want prosecutors held in contempt. The judge will also be hearing arguments about what police officers are allowed to say during the preliminary hearing. The defense wants officers to be prevented from relaying information told to them by other people following Kirk's shooting, but prosecutors say Utah courts have allowed so-called hearsay evidence during preliminary hearings for decades. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
The judge overseeing a rape case against former BYU football player Parker Kingston will remain on the bench. The prosecution filed a motion earlier this week claiming the judge was favoring Kingston and his athletic career when it came to scheduling future court dates. That motion asking for a new judge has been dismissed. The jury trial is scheduled to take place in July. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, the newest listing on the NASDAQ is also one of the most valuable.
The company's controversial chief executive, Elon Musk, watched the ringing of the opening bell at the NASDAQ exchange from SpaceX headquarters in South Texas, saying he originally didn't give the company much of a chance.
I told people this. I said, look, we're probably going to fail, but, we should give it a try, because if there's not a new company that enters space, we will never be a truly spacefaring civilization.
In its stock market debut, SpaceX was offering 555 million shares at $135 apiece. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
In fact, let's take a look at your money at this moment. SpaceX now trading at $163. So it's up $28 from the suggested price. The Dow also up 252. Right now, the Dow is at 51,101. Coming up warm and getting warmer. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio. If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
1877 cars
1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877-CARS for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Utah homeowners, listen up. If your roof is over 15 years old and you've had recent storm damage, now's the time to act. Hey, it's Josh with IWC Roofing, and we've built our reputation on quality, integrity, and taking care of homeowners the right way from start to finish. IWC Roofing, Utah's highest rated roofing company, is now offering $2,500 off your new roof replacement, plus a free upgrade package to maximize your home's protection and value. But that's not all. We're giving away a free roof. Yep, you heard me. One homeowner will receive a brand new roof free. The winner to be announced August 1st. And here's where it gets even better. When you call and mention this radio ad, you'll receive double entries to win. Appointments are filling up fast, and this offer won't last. Call now for your free inspection and estimate. 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690. Save $2,500, get upgraded, and you could win a brand new roof. Call IWC Roofing today, 801-232-5690. Restrictions apply. No purchase necessary. See IWCRoofingUtah.com for details and rules.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Improve cash flow with a home equity line of credit. And back to you, Cormac.
Right now, no accidents or delays on I-15 between Ogden and Provo, so it's just normal delays to expect. Eastbound I-80, that right lane's still pretty full between Kimball Junction and the US 40 turnoff. Eastbound 2100 north in Lehigh, pretty heavy approaching I-15. And the 201 freeway, light delays scattered in both directions in Magna from 8400 west to 7200 west. Weathers Construction creates stunning functional kitchen remodels fast. Call 801-548-8409. Weathers Construction. Build your space better. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should see a high today of 85 degrees, 87 tomorrow. We stay in the upper 80s through Monday, and then we're in the 90s next week. Right now, it's 66 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Holly, according to the nation's latest report card, long-term trends for America's 9-year-old students are on an upward slope, but the 13-year-old students might need some help.
I know. Isn't that so crazy? So there's some good news and some not so good news.
Right.
And we're joined by Jason Swenson from the Deseret News. He's going to help us talk about the news. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Greg, Holly, good morning. Happy to be here.
So I wonder if you could just start by talking about the good news from the nation's report card.
Sure. Just this week, the National Center for Education Statistics, which is a federal office that's operated under the direction of the Education Department, released the results of their the specific nation's report card that is administered or a test that's administered every 4 years throughout the country that is used to identify trends. And probably the most prominent trend, is, as you mentioned a moment ago, is that the average reading and math scores for American 9-year-olds had increased from 2022 to 2025. So, of course, that's sort of taking a glimpse as to where how we're doing post-pandemic, where we know we took some educational performance hits. On the flip side, those American 13-year-olds who were included in the test, they're stagnating a bit in both math and reading. There wasn't a dip, but we really haven't seen much progress since 2022.
I'm wondering, Jason, if that could be the result of a focus that we've had on this 9-year-old group, that we really want to see where they can go, and a lack of focus for other groups. You know, if we're too focused on a particular age.
I thought the same thing as I've been looking over the some of the data that was presented, Greg, is certainly across the country and in our own state of Utah, with both policies, some new laws, and just a lot of the talk, of course, has focused on early literacy, ensuring that our kindergarten, first, second, and third grade students are reading at proficient levels, and are we implementing strategies and different things to ensure that those younger elementary kids are reading, particularly where they need to be. And you're right. I think that some of this, the data that's revealed in this latest report card suggests that while we certainly need to focus on early literacy, those adolescent years there are certainly strategies that need to be identified and implemented there as well. When you consider that the 13-year-olds that are being tested now, they were in elementary school during the pandemic, and that period that's, I think, correctly identified as so fundamental to literacy. And so while we pay attention to the young kids, certainly strategies need to be articulated and implemented with those junior high age kids who are then going to go on to high school and then move on from there. So I think you're correct in identifying that we really need to have a sort of a two-pronged effort when it comes to literacy in our schools.
Yeah, that's interesting, Jason, because 13-year-olds, they would have been about second grade, maybe even third grade during the pandemic. And so I can see how that could have been a factor right there. I also see in your article in the Deseret News that you talk about kids reading for pleasure. And can you talk to us about how those numbers look? Because they're not very good.
Well, certainly that's been something that has been championed, as I mentioned. When you look at both Governor Cox, First Lady Abby Cox has made that one of her key initiatives, is getting books in the hands of kids and not only teaching them to read, but learning to love to read, which of course would only be a boon to those literacy efforts. According to the Nation's report card that was released this week, just under 40% of 9-year-olds reported reading for fun almost every day, which was essentially identical to what they found in 2022, although it's statistically, perhaps significantly even, lower than what it even was 6 years ago, and much lower than it was, say, in the mid-'80s for us Gen Xers. But then we see that while about 40% of 9-year-old students reported reading for fun almost every day, that number really drops by the time they're 13-year-olds. Only 14% in this latest report card of 13-year-olds reported reading for fun almost every day in 2025. So as you can see, between that 4 or 5 year period between when they're 9-year-olds and early adolescents, at some point they're leaving books behind.
Jason, is there anything in this report card that breaks down any state-by-state analysis, or do we have any idea how Utah is doing? Typically, we would expect that Utah does better than the national trend in some of these areas. Is that spelled out at all?
This particular agency administers two different tests. One is the one that was released this week that is a national trend test that's administered every 4 years. The one that would be particularly helpful to answer your question, Greg, is the test that's administered every 2 years that actually breaks down performances state by state. That one was last administered, or at least revealed last year, where it showed specific scores that demonstrated that Utah kids were faring actually better than most of their counterparts across the country, but still showing that there was some real cause for reading concerns, again, particularly among those early adolescents. So to answer your question, the most recent test did not specifically identify or analyze Utah, but fairly recent report cards have shown that we have some of the same struggles we're seeing nationwide, perhaps just not to the same extent.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Jason. That was Jason Swenson from the Deseret News talking about America's report card. Some good, some Mixed, maybe, right? And then the question is, okay, now what do we do about it?
Yeah, and we're still reeling from the pandemic. Let's
I
face
know.
it. With that set back a generation of kids,
Yeah.
Especially those that were in grade school at all levels, and some junior high and high school. That year and a half, whatever it was, where people were trying to work and study from home, just didn't pan out. And the interaction that kids have with each other that they missed out on
Some differences,
was
right?
just as important as the educational part of it. That you just never make that up, but maybe they will eventually.
So our Jazzy was in kindergarten during the pandemic. She just finished 6th grade. So it'll be interesting, right? In another 6 years, we can say, well, these were the first kids that were in school when the pandemic hit, and now they're all the way through high school. So
Let's
we'll see
hope
how that
there
goes.
isn't another one for several
I
generations. I mean, we've got Ebola and all these things going on right now. You're like, oh man, let's hope we don't have another pandemic.
Look, this is an interesting story about a Venus flytrap. So scientists think that they have discovered the way they actually work, which is not the way scientists thought they had worked in the past. So we're going to talk to Utah State University horticulturist Tom Bettis about that next.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
The movie shows broadcasting live today from NPS. We're at their Layton location, 1150 North Main, where if you live in Davis County or the southern part of Weber County or the northern part of Salt Lake County or wherever you live that's within driving distance of NPS and Layton Valley, you should come because this place looks better and better every time we get here. And it looks better every time we get here because of Chris. And it's been, I think, a month since we were at this location, maybe a little bit longer, and already I see some of the awesome improvements that you continue to make here. It gets more and more organized, easier and easier to find stuff. I mean, this is supposed to be a treasure hunt. You're making it too easy.
It's an organized treasure hunt is what it is.
Well, that's what it's become.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody else, but this is my favorite one, just between us three.
Just
this
between
is
us
my
three.
favorite
Okay.
store. Yeah.
We won't let anyone else know about that. But, Chris, what are some of the
thank
deals
you.
people can enjoy? What are the treasures they can come find today at NPS? We're
Well-
getting close to 4th of July. I mean, people need to start.
Not only 4th of July, but Father's Day, guys. Father's Day.
Oh, that's first. You're right.
Father's Day's
Don't
coming
forget
up.
about your day.
I want to say it's like the 21st,
gift.
right?
Do you remember that? I found my Father's Day gift here last year on the Friday before Father's Day.
Did you pick your own Father's Day present out?
No, it's for my father-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right. I
found
remember.
his.
It was
Remember
a,
that?
It was a
It was the
jersey.
Texas Tech sweatshirt.
Yes. Yeah. Yep, I remember that.
And I wouldn't have expected to find it, and I did, and it was meant to be. NPS. It doesn't stand for meant to be, but it could.
I think it stands for everything you never knew you needed.
Oh,
I like that.
I like that.
Okay, well, what are some of the deals so people can get excited?
We
to come
have
there?
all pants are 60% off, and ball caps and hats are 60. Men's
okay.
suits are 60. If you see, there's a little
that's
bit
a
of
great deal.
A little bit of a men's driven here.
When we talk about men's suits, okay, we are talking the name brand men's suits.
Yes,
like not just non-name. You're not allowed to say the names on the air.
Correct.
But when I had to get new suits, I got them for. And especially with the extra 60% off, this is the time to do it. Come and see what they've got. That includes the Salt Lake store as well, right? Or is that just the
all
Lake?
the stores.
Okay.
All the stores. We have like the tactical on 30, sporting goods on 30, garden supplies 30, all tools.
This does feel like Father's Day aimed.
Watches.
I wonder
25.
if Julie was thinking about Father's Day when she decided
She clearly
on all these
was.
deals. Well, come down to any of the 4 NPS locations here at 1150 North Main Street in Layton, or in Salt Lake. You've got the industrial and the retail side at 1600 South Empire Road, and in Utah County, 475 North State in Orem.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
Your dog is limping.
but she seems fine. Plus, you've heard they can fake it just to get what they want, so what's the deal now? You're being gaslit.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Oh, now she switched legs. What a diva.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hoped it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Utah homeowners enter to win a new AC from Vyrock Heating and Cooling. Visit VyrockAir.com. All applicants receive a free AC evaluation. Vyrock Heating and Cooling. VAIRockair.com.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley. A gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest. A sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Well, this is interesting for me. For more than a century, though, scientists thought they had figured out how the Venus flytrap worked. But now they admit they had it wrong.
Isn't that so interesting? And look, I asked you during the break, did you ever have a Venus flytrap?
Yeah, we bought one. I don't know why. My wife
did
had
it work?
Yeah, it worked great. I don't know why it didn't live very long, but we had one, and it was cute. They're not natural in Utah. They're in some southern
one of the
states.
Carolinas, I think. Yeah, North Carolina.
They grow there, and they're actually, it's a beautiful plant. I liked it, but we don't have a lot of flies in our house, so it just didn't work. I don't know. I don't remember.
Not enough food for the plant.
Right, yeah.
So I never had one. Well, we're joined now by USU horticulturist Ton Bettis. He's also co-host of KSL's Garden Show. He's going to give us the rundown. So, Ton, what can you tell us about Venus flytraps and maybe this new research?
Well, the Venus flytrap is native to the Carolinas, like you said. It has relatives. It's part of a larger group of plants that are native to very poor, boggy soils that will trap insects and other spiders and things to get protein, nitrogen, and other nutrients so that they can survive in the poor soils where they live.
So if people don't know, I mean, I'm assuming everybody knows, the Venus flytrap can snap shut and capture its victims like flies.
Yes.
And we've always had an understanding, apparently, as to why and how that occurs. But I always thought the flies tickled the little hairs in the thing, and it tickled it.
I think they do.
And it closed it like a tenth of a second. But what did we get wrong that we now know is the real reason they close?
Yeah, the latest research is showing that what scientists thought was happening is that changes in water pressure in the cells cause the modified leaf to snap shut. But this latest research is showing that it's actually not that there's a pressure gradient in the backside of the leaf, and the plant holds open almost like a spring hard hinge, and then when 2 of those hairs are triggered within about 20 seconds, there's a sudden softening of the cells along a seam, and that leaf snaps shut.
Wow.
And so the scientists, I think water pressure still has a little to do with it, but it looks like that they're using almost like a hair trigger or their version of a nerve system. Says, okay, 2 hairs have been moved, and it triggers a series of chemical reactions that very quickly shut the leaf.
That's so interesting. So is this big news in your world, in the horticultural world?
Well, it's interesting, and it's not like rocking the whole horticultural world or anything. But yeah, it's very interesting because there's still so many aspects of plants we don't understand, that seem to be very simple. And I was looking at some other literature this morning, concerning the article, and there was still even some scientists out there saying, hey, wait a minute, they haven't addressed X, Y, and Z. And so even though evidence suggests we need to study some more to even see if this is really everything that's happening.
Do we have anything even at all similar in Utah, a plant that thrives off of proteins from insects or something like that?
Not that I know of. Now, I'm not a botanist that specializes in Intermountain West plants. There are some boggy areas in the high Uintas where plants closely related like blueberries and cranberries thrive, huckleberries. And so we have a few areas that they may be able to live, but we're generally too cold in those areas. And so these plants are going to be more native to coastal bogs with really acidic soil and very poor in nutrients.
So if somebody wanted to go to the store and buy one, do you have recommendations for how they should be able to keep them alive in their house? Don't feed them?
Yes.
Or don't buy one?
It's what you actually, if you buy one, they actually should be watered with distilled water.
Oh.
Because the minerals in water actually will over time kill them. And so you water them with distilled water, and then you can actually, instead of finding flies and things, you can get a little piece of chicken or pork or beef and drop it in there and then stimulate a couple of the leaves. And you do that a couple times a month, and that will keep it going. Then it also likes bright but not direct light, so off to the side of a south or west window would be an ideal exposure.
That's wild to me.
I think it'd be interesting for a kid, like
I'm
a
gonna
science
feed my
type
plants some
project.
chicken.
Yeah, it's like some people think they need to get a piranha or something like that. Get a plant.
What if you stick your finger in? Because I know my kids would do that first thing. Did they hurt you?
No, the digestive enzymes inside that little cup shape when the leaf snaps shut is very slow acting, and so if you wash your hands, if you stick your finger in there, you'll be just fine, because it's kind of gruesome, but the insects inside the plant are digested alive over a number of days.
Oh, I maybe didn't need to know that.
Disgusting.
No.
So it looks like on the edge of the leaves, they look a little spiky, but are you saying that those won't hurt either if you stick your finger in there?
No, they're not.
I don't know.
They're not like a cactus where they'll get into your skin and things. It's more just a trigger saying it needs to close. And then sometimes there'll be a little bit of honeydew on them, and it's kind of an enticement to attract those insects in, almost like putting cheese on a mousetrap.
Hey, can we just pivot for just a minute, since we have a horticulturist on the line? Ton, what are you telling homeowners this year about what to do with the dearth of water that we're having? Are there certain things that we're sort of directing people to focus on rather than, Venus flytrap's probably not among the group of things we could start planting in our yards, but what should we be looking at?
Well, I pay attention to your particular water authority, because it varies wildly on what they're wanting people to do as far as water. Some are just saying don't water between 10 and 6, and others are saying you have 2 or 3 days a week, after 7 o'clock at night. And so you really need to pay attention to your particular water authority, because water gets so complicated on who can have it and who gets it first and things. But we're recommending people, we water twice as much as we need on our lawns because of inefficiencies in our sprinkling systems, not changing our clocks. And a lawn will survive just fine being watered twice a week to a depth of about 6 to maybe 8 inches. And so there's Utah State University Extension, Slow the Flow, there's lots of resources out there that shows how to do that. But if, with the current water restrictions, you can water your lawn and have it pretty green just because we overwater so much.
All right. Any other recommendations for planting outside? Maybe we know we can't do Venus flytraps outside in Utah.
Yeah. Well, pay attention again to your water authority because some of them are going to probably run out of water by late August. And if you have a new lawn and new trees, how are you going to keep them alive? And so you may have to delay landscaping until we know what next year is going to look like as far as our water situation. And so, it all goes down to those, contracts signed 100 years ago. But I've heard the Davis-Weber Canal might be struggling a little bit this year. Weber Basin may institute further restrictions. And so you need to have that information before you plant thousands of dollars in plants.
All right, for sure. Thanks for joining us today. That was Utah State University horticulturist Ton Bettis. So
we've been lucky. We haven't even turned our water on yet.
Wow.
Up in Eden, we have not turned our water on.
Yeah, no, look. So this is a fun story from Utah County where a conservative, controversial influencer became the deputy county clerk. We're going to talk about that next.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, an out-of-state political action committee has launched an aggressive campaign against Utah's Senate president. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The PAC Make Liberty Win has poured $100,000 into a campaign against Stuart Adams, sending out texts, calls, and mailers with AI images depicting the Senate president as a clown, pickpocket, and magician. The group executive director tells the Deseret News it doesn't matter if Adams wins as long as he's humiliated.
Adams has also been targeted by Democratic groups with a focus on the massive data center project in Box Elder County. A North Carolina man is pleading no contest to 2 counts of forging signatures. It happened during the failed petition to repeal Utah's anti-gerrymandering law. As part of the deal, prosecutors are dropping 20 other charges against Chadwick Klutz. If he follows court conditions for at least a year, all charges will be dismissed. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. U.S. forces in the Middle East shot down 2 Iranian attack drones over the Strait of Hormuz. But President Trump insists a peace deal with Iran is imminent and could be signed over the next few days. Former Deputy Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy, explains what he expects to see in the peace deal.
We'd have to see things like activities to open the strait start happening. Then I imagine there'll be a blockade reduction on the U.S. side so that you gain essentially trust in either side as they move forward through the agreed upon terms.
The president has not presented the full terms of the agreement, and Iran says it's not yet finalized. Your money at this moment, if you're interested where SpaceX is, it started at $135, now trading at $164 a share. The Dow right now is up 288 points. We're at 51,150. Coming up from the 80s to the 90s, KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio. The Movie Show broadcasting live from NPS in Layton today, 1150 North Main. And I'm looking down the list, Chris, of the movie show specials, because you guys have great prices all the time. You throw additional discounts on things all the time. We talked about some of those, and we'll continue to talk about them through the movie show today. But then you guys do, when we're here, a movie show special where you make special items get a special extra awesome price.
Yes.
And we are talking right now and I just saw them putting out big flats of strawberries, the 2-pound strawberry cartons. What do you guys have them for?
I believe $3.49.
$3.49, and these were good-looking strawberries.
Yeah.
Just getting to the ripe part.
They're literally just pushing them to the floor, and they look delicious.
Yeah, you know what they make really good is strawberry jam.
You keep saying that you're going to share your jam with me.
I was going to bring some in, and it's for Julie. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Not.
Fine. I
But
see what's going
I'll
on
let
here.
you look at it. No, but other things I see, you've got the mayonnaise with lime for 99 cents a jar.
Yeah.
The silver, let's see, it's a pasta sauce, 2 for $3.
Yes.
If you're a student, pasta is like your lifeline.
It is.
And if you're a kid, pasta is something everybody eats. I do notice, and this is something I wanted to take advantage of, my wife's favorite cereal that has groups of oats and almonds.
Yeah.
You guys have a great price on that. 2 for $5 on the big, huge, giant boxes. And let's see, chocolate bars with hazelnuts, 99 cents each.
Mm-hmm.
I bet dads would like some of these things too, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tell us what some of the deals are for dads really quick.
We have tactical at 30 and sporting goods at 30. All tools. We have wallets, men's suits for 60.
Okay, now this I got to make sure people who are a little bit new to the NPS experience. You guys have name brand men's suits, brand new.
Yes.
You'll see the original price tag on them.
Yes.
Then you'll see the NPS price, which is 30 to 70% below that. And when we say 60% off, we mean 60% off that price.
60% off the lowest mark price.
Yeah. So you
it's
look
an
at that and be
additional
like,
60.
oh, that's a great deal. And then you subtract 60% from that, and you're like, that's a deal I better put in my cart right now.
Exactly. Everything you never knew you wanted.
Everything you never knew you wanted. At all NPS stores, they've got all kinds of deals going on, getting you ready for Father's Day. They've got locations in Utah County at 475 North State Street, in Salt Lake County at 1600 South Empire Road, and in Layton, where we are. Come say hi to us today, 1150 North Main in Layton.
For hearts that love. For hearts that care. For hearts that comfort. For hearts that heal. We care for them all. At Common Spirit Health, we know that each patient is unique. That's why our cardiology team is committed to caring for every kind of heart. Find heart care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org.
America First Credit Union has everything you need to get your money working. And for a limited time, new members get a $150 cash bonus for opening a checking account and $200 more for enrolling in and using direct deposit. If you're ready to do more with your money and get up to $350 cash, head to americafirst.com and become a member today. Subject to membership eligibility, terms, creditworthiness, change, and conditions. Additional requirements may apply. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. And here's Cormac Bone.
Roadways running really smooth all across the Wasatch Front. No delays on I-15 between Ogden and Provo. There's a little bit of congestion transitioning from northbound I-215's East Belt to go eastbound I-80 at the mouth of Parley's Canyon. But that's just light slowdowns. Otherwise, it's regular delays to expect eastbound 2100 north in Lehigh and some light congestion both directions of the 201 freeway in Magna. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest to you at goodfeet.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should see a high today of 85 degrees. We're in the upper 80s through Monday, then the 90s next week. Right now it's sunny and 69 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, the Utah County Clerk's Office is having a little bit of consternation and some concern right now over the fact that they've named Kai Schwemmer their chief deputy clerk despite a history of some pretty inflammatory online comments.
Yes, that would be mild. Yeah, so he's been in the news for a number of comments that he's made. He has made anti-Semitic remarks. He's made anti-woman remarks. He's made anti-universal suffrage remarks, meaning he's even in favor of what they call family voting, which means that the head of household is the only person who gets a vote, right? Meaning the man. So, and in as recently as November, he said, most women don't have the temperament to be in political office.
And he doesn't have a history of politics. I mean, of elections, rather. He's named,
well, he doesn't have any experience working in the office,
right,
for sure.
So
yeah, for sure. So, his exact comment about women in office was, women generally do not have what it takes to endure the pressures of a public office. He's 23, by the way.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk now with Utah County Commissioner Amelia Powers Gardner. She was previously the clerk, so she even knows what the job takes. Thanks for joining us, Amelia.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on today, guys.
Like, you and I have both been women in politics, but you were the first female county clerk in Utah County. Is that right?
Yeah, I was the first female county clerk, and I'm the first ever woman to serve as a commissioner as well.
So what is your response, especially as a county commissioner, to this hiring decision by the county clerk, who is in a hotly contested race right now?
Yeah, it's funny because, Greg, you started by saying that the county clerk's office is having consternation right now. It seems like this has been a constant over the last 3.5 years since the current clerk was elected. Every single year, seems like every single election, we've got censures from the lieutenant governor's office. We've got reconciliation not lining up and him counting more ballots than people who got credit for voting. And this is just another one in a long string of disappointing actions by the current county clerk. This one is particularly disappointing because this year, with him being on the ballot, oftentimes he's going to have to recuse himself. And that position under state code, under law, the chief deputy position assumes the role of clerk if he cannot fulfill those roles, either because there's a conflict of interest or if he was unable to be reached or had a medical emergency or something of that case, or if he were to vacate the office, this person legally steps in. So his excuse of saying this is a temporary thing and this person has none of those responsibilities, legally that person does.
Do we have any idea where this name came from? Or, I mean, obviously he's been around, but, and you're right, the Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson has a history of doing some unusual things, and he's running for a re-election. But how did this, what's his name, Kai Schwemmer, even come into the picture? Do we know?
I don't know. I wasn't familiar with Kai prior to concerns being raised to me by people that were concerned about this appointment, and I'm not sure how he came to that conclusion that this would be someone that should be counting the ballots of people. I know that I have had dozens of people reach out to me through social media, email, showing up in my commission meetings, most of whom are women, but across the board, men and women, concerned that someone who doesn't think that me as a woman should be serving in office is counting the votes. Also, keep in mind, in our county right now, we've got 2 ballots because we have 2 congressional districts. On one of those ballots, 3 of the 4 races have a woman on the ballot, and in the other ballot, two of the 4 have a woman on the ballot. And those candidates, how do they feel that the number 2 person in the office doesn't think they have what it takes to serve in office?
Yeah, that's really concerning to me too. So you're on the county commission, and is there anything that you can do as a commissioner?
No, in our society, I think it's great that we as people get to vote who our leaders are, but those elections have serious consequences. And the current county clerk was elected, and under the laws, as long as their chief deputy is legal to work in the U.S., is not convicted of a crime, and passes a drug test, they can hire whoever they want for that job.
So even if there's no qualifications at all, they can still hire somebody.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I don't think it's a wise decision. When I was the county clerk, my chief deputy had worked for a member of Congress, had run large organizations, and had a law degree, because that's who I felt we needed someone with those types of qualifications to be the gatekeepers of democracy for the people of Utah County. But in this case, no qualifications, and no experience running elections. But that's who the current clerk chose.
It almost seems that the clerk is just kind of messing with y'all. I mean, it seems like this pick came so far out of the blue and is so obviously, I'll just say it, inappropriate, that Aaron Davidson is just kind of telling y'all.
Poke you in the eye?
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. That's a comment without really a question mark at the end of it.
Well, now here's the thing. You would think so. But if you look at his tenure of service, he has cared way more about political rhetoric than actually doing the job he was elected to do, right? This is actually a criticism that his current challenger has brought up and said this is why Corey Astle chose to run for office against Aaron Davidson, is because Aaron Davidson has time and time again chosen political rhetoric and his political ideology over the administration and following the laws of the current office. And this is just one more example of that.
So, Commissioner Powers Gardner, you sent a letter. You're one of a number of people. Can you tell us in the minute we have left what is in this letter?
Yeah, so this is a letter. It's been signed by over 4 dozen women leaders that are either elected officials, former elected officials, business leaders, that basically says that when we have picks like this, it undermines confidence in our institutions, that it is not appropriate to have somebody counting the votes who thinks that women shouldn't have the franchise of the vote, and that we as the women who help lead our community alongside the men of our community do not feel that this was an appropriate pick to represent the citizens of Utah County.
Thanks, Amelia. Thanks for joining us this morning. That was Utah County Clerk Amelia Powers Gardner.
Commissioner. Utah County Commissioner.
Utah, yeah. Who wrote down clerk? Yes.
She used to be the clerk.
Commissioner, of course. Yes, former Utah County Clerk.
Yeah, thanks, Amelia.
Yeah. You know, this falls on our first story of the day, where we had a San Juan County assessor who sort of run amok.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, it looks like we have some breaking news here. What's going on, Claire?
Yeah, this is Claire Scott from KSL News Radio reporting live. We're hearing from police in Texas that at least 1 person is dead and 11 others wounded after someone opened fire at a building in Midland. Police say the scene is secured, but the standoff with the gunman is still happening. We're going to continue to follow this in the newsroom and bring you the very latest.
All right. Thanks for that breaking news.
Yes.
Well, now we have an awkward transition to the
seriously.
movie show, but well, stay tuned with the Midland, Texas news, and we'll be right back.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
The Movie Show broadcasting live today from NPS at their Layton location at 1150 North Main. And NPS, we say it stands for nicest place to save, because you'll save on anything that you buy here. It's going to be below what you'd pay retail at another location. And Chris, I'm looking right in front of us. You know, we're at the early part of summer, and I see lots of sunglasses on the wall. Those are probably just like, you know, the $5 kind.
Those are like the Ray-Ban and the Oakley.
Oh.
They're the fancy kind.
You mean fancy, name brand kind.
Yes.
But you're not paying what you'd pay in one of those stores.
No.
And they're brand new.
And I believe they're on sale.
Oh, sunglasses an extra 30% off.
Yeah.
So whatever awesome price you're already getting, you get to knock another 30% off of that. Look at these things. It's Father's Day coming up next weekend. And so if you don't know what to get for your father or your husband or a significant other, this is the place to come, because they call it a treasure hunt. And especially in the electronics, I'm telling you.
You are addicted to that section.
Yeah.
Okay, if you
and the clothing.
If you don't know what he might like, just say, look, walk through NPS, pick something out. You can't go wrong with that. What guy would be like, oh no, I get to pick out what thing I want?
I mean, do you
There
love
aren't
doing
any.
that? Okay. You want to pick what you want for Father's Day. I love that.
Well, I mean,
it takes all
makes
the
it
pressure
easier.
off of us. Just let your kid
just take him to the store and say, hey, what
just
do you
go wild.
What are you thinking? Find something. Let's do it, because, you know, I don't know.
I mean, I know it's not my day coming up, but I did see luggage on there, and I know that this is like the season that we all go out of town on vacation road trips, and we all have that one piece of luggage that the wheel doesn't quite do or the zipper doesn't quite go. This is the time. This is the time
too.
to come get your luggage. Yeah,
Extra
30% off.
Plus, we've got movie show specials on some of the grocery items that we'll tell you about once we get into the movie show coming up here in about 15 minutes. Come visit the NPS locations. Each store has its own deals. If you're in Utah County, you can go to 475 North State. If you're in Salt Lake County, 1600 South Empire Road in Salt Lake City. And in Layton here at 1150 North Main Street, where the movie show is broadcasting live.
What if you had the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? and the price didn't change for 5 years. Thanks to the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. Now through June 22nd, get gig Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 years with equipment and unlimited data included, no strings, no commitments. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. Plus, you can even try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account taxes and fees extra after 12 months. Regular rates apply to mobile. Select Xfinity. Internet required speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable. $50 a month for 5 years. No commitments. Go to Xfinity.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com. Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
And expanded Inside Sources.
So Claire Scott was just in the studio talking to us about a shooting that occurred in Midland, Texas. At least one media outlet is reporting that the gunman involved in that has been killed. The suspect has been killed, rather, and that their standoff is over, so that situation is resolved, notwithstanding that it was a horrible situation.
So I also need to share that today is Karen Huntsman Day. So this is my fun fact for today before we get to the movie show, that the governor just today declared that it is Karen Huntsman Day in her honor. She's the one who just passed away, of course, last week, I think, at age 88. And he says, as part of his declaration, that she has dedicated her life to improving the well-being of Utahns through her exceptional service, generosity, leadership, and compassion. So today, June 12th, 2026, is Karen Huntsman Day in Utah.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, it's also Friday, and it's our last segment of the week, which means it's time for the movie show. So let's go to Andy Farnsworth and Val Cameron, who are at the NPS store, I think, in Layton. Val, tell us about our movie of the week. What am I going to watch this weekend?
You are going to see probably one of the best Steven Spielberg movies made in a really long time, called Disclosure Day.
Wow. Well, tell us.
Is this not. Andy, do
or
you...
not.
Do we not agree on this film? And we just found out?
That's why I said I thought we might have an argument today.
Man. So the cool thing about Disclosure Day and about Steven Spielberg is Steven Spielberg does such a great job in almost every movie that he has to make you feel like you're on a visual adventure as much as you're on an emotional adventure. And with this movie, you get a little bit of that emotional adventure, but the visual adventure with the lighting that he puts in this film is almost a character in its own. Don't tell me that you hated the lighting of this film too, Andy.
No, I was going to say, you were talking about the visual adventure and the emotional adventure. I was going to say, if you thought they both were excellent, I was going to say you're half right.
Oh, okay. Well, Emily Blunt was in it. She was fantastic. Josh O'Connor was in it. Colin Firth, Eve Houston, and then Coleman Domingo, and Wyatt Russell. For the first time that he's ever been on the screen, I was not frustrated with him. And that's Kurt Russell's son.
Really?
Yeah, usually, because he always plays the jerky character, and he does such a good job at it.
He did it again.
It wasn't as bad, though, as some of his other movies. He did a really good job. So this is a sci-fi film. If you are into any of his sci-fi films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., it's almost a little bit Minority Report as well, because there's a lot of different things going on in the government. But you have two characters that are not sure what's going on in their life. All of a sudden, some weird things start happening to them. They start seeing things they haven't seen. They start hearing things in a different way, and they have to figure out what's going on, and they don't know each other, but they do. I don't know how to explain this without giving it away, but Coleman Domingo kind of brings them together. You have Colin Firth's character, which, depending on what side you are on, he could be a good guy or he could be a bad guy with this character. So there's so many different things that Steven Spielberg is doing with this film that I could see how someone would think, I'm not sure what to feel about it, but for me it was such a good adventure, and you got to have that nostalgia of Close Encounters of the Third Time. There were a couple of moments, and of E.T. You had some feeling with the adventurous parts of that, but in its own, it was its own film by the end, and it was a different way that I have seen an extraterrestrial movie made.
Okay,
So I have to,
That's
we have
great.
to ask Andy.
Yeah, now go ahead and take the
Well, for me, what Steven Spielberg does well, he does really well. So I agree with her 100% on that. But when I left the movie, I was like, what am I supposed to take from this? I didn't feel emotionally connected to anybody except maybe Emily Blunt a little bit. But everything else, I just was like, you've waited 4 years and this is the story you choose to tell? What story are you even telling me? Is it that aliens are real? We need to be nicer to each other? Oh, gee, I've never seen any movies like that. And maybe I just have a higher expectation. For me, it was, if Steven Spielberg wasn't the director of this movie, would I have any desire to see it? I'm not sure I would.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
But he did his things well. Chases, he's the master of chases.
Yeah, that
He's
train
the master
scene.
of popping in just a little bit of humor at the right moment to kind of diffuse tension that you're feeling. He does all of his stuff that he does well. He does it really well. That's why he's one of the best
But you
ever.
don't feel like it broke any new ground for
But
you.
I came out of that going, okay, that just happened. I didn't feel like it was bad, but I didn't. Everything that Project Hail Mary made me feel, this one did not.
Yeah, I feel like if you're putting it up against Project Hail Mary, it's not as good as Project Hail Mary. There's so much new that we see in that film, whereas this, I needed it because the last couple films that Spielberg put out to me were not like his best work.
Well, but it wasn't
and so
the
as a
visuals
fan,
of Project
really
Hail
needed
Mary
it.
that made it so good. I mean, we had space movies before. We've had
but it was
alien
so
movies.
different.
But I don't know.
Anyway, we won't get into Project
That's-
Hail Mary, but anyways, for me, I really liked it. It's a B+. I'll probably watch it again because I feel like there was so much going on. I probably missed a few things.
And maybe that would help us seeing it a second time. But it was also 2.5 hours, so I don't know
Did
if
you need a Snickers? Is that what maybe you needed a nap? Maybe.
so I can't possibly come to this conclusion on my own. I have to be hungry.
All right,
Just
hey,
kidding, man.
What's your question of the week, guys?
Our question of the week is related to aliens, and that is, and we've named off a few in this segment already. What is your favorite alien movie?
Okay, here's Holly's.
Walls. Personal space is at a premium.
Who is Grace talking to? Question.
There's no way you can hear me right now.
Can hear. Who are you talking to?
I just thought it was so funny that you mentioned Hail Mary. So I do have a caveat. My very first pick was E.T., and it's like, no, that's kind of old. I'm going to go with the new one that I just saw because especially at the very end of that movie, I thought the aliens were adorable.
Adorable aliens are always better to aliens like the movie Alien.
Which is a movie I never saw, actually.
I'll give you that much. What about you, Greg?
Okay, so I have a little caveat here. When my wife and I go to dinner, if she orders something, I cannot order the same thing. So Holly took my first choice,
And I took-
because I
It's so
refused
funny.
to get the same thing. But here's my second choice.
E.T. home phone.
I mean, come on. Until Hail Mary, that was my favorite alien.
So we both picked the same two movies. That's what we're saying, actually.
Well, and I bet we'll get a lot of people who love those because those are two excellent, excellent movies.
What about
Why
you
wouldn't
guys?
you pick movies that are excellent? What about you, Val?
So I'm going to tell you, I have 3, but I'm going to give you one that is mine and my daughter's favorite alien movie, and you wouldn't usually think about it, but it's Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good
that
one.
one's so good. That is really
Yeah,
good.
it's so good, and a lot of people don't think about it as an alien movie. They think about it as a family movie, but it's a cute little alien movie.
It is.
All right, I'm going to cheat then because I got a great suggestion, but I agreed with it immediately from Don Brinkerhoff earlier today, and I'm going to go with Superman the movie.
Nice.
He is an alien, right? He's an
He
extraterrestrial.
is an alien. And I'm talking the Christopher Reeve original 1978 with John Williams score. And, that's I have other, but that what we're saying is this is an open question. That's why I like that you picked Lilo and Stitch, is that you don't necessarily have to limit yourself to just Alien or where Predator's certainly an alien movie you could go with.
Well, one of the ones that I'm going to talk about that's my favorite on our show today is very controversial. I think I might get some hate mail.
Andy, I have to tell you something though. Today is National Superman Day. Not even kidding.
Where's your cape?
Well.
You
I
made
actually
a
had
very
one that was like a
good
reversible.
choice. Today is National Superman Day.
And I have to tell you something. You guys have been just right on spot with me, and I've been watching these movies and being up to speed. And you end the week with two movies, Lilo and Stitch and Superman, that I've never seen. So you're killing me. We're going back in time again, just when I'm getting
Well,
up
it's
to speed
National
with you guys.
Superman Day, Greg.
Yeah,
you
so-
go out and watch Superman the movie from 1970. It's got Marlon Brando in it if you can't get convinced for anything else.
I know, Christopher Reeve for the win.
Yeah,
No way.
yeah.
It's got to do Christopher Reeve. But,
Gene
it's
Hackman.
It's so, actually.
Dead
But
people.
it's just that's a lot of fun. And I cannot believe you haven't watched Lilo and Stitch, although you don't watch a lot of kid movies.
No.
And I'll just say there are two versions. There's the original animated one and there's a live action one. And I thought they actually did a really good job with both. Although I am easy to please.
Which one's
on
the
kid
alien,
movies.
Lilo or Stitch?
Stitch.
Okay. I didn't get to ask
Lilo
that.
Next week on the movie show, our telephone torture prize will be Watch a Classic Movie with Greg Skordas that he's never seen.
Lilo is a little girl from Hawaii. So.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I
So-
should have known that.
Well, we've come to the end of the week, and thanks you guys. We really appreciate it. It's really fun to talk with our movie show hosts, and we're going to wrap up Inside Sources, and the movie show hosts are going to take it from here. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news,